Remi, good to be back, baby.
Welcome back. Long off season.
Long off season, no kidding. Hey, well, welcome. This is the first Remi and Red Show of 2021. It just so happens we're exactly 1 month away from Once a Year Day. How you feeling, brother?
Prepared, unlike probably a lot of our competitors in the A League, but looking forward to a new season, redemption. You definitely need a lot of redemption from your position where you finished last year.
We'll get to that. We'll get to that. But hey, I just want to say, man, I'm super excited about this 2021, this season.
So
Got a ton of freaking hype around
so
it.
glad that you're able to come down from Alaska. You know that we're all going to be able to get together. Last year was a weird year. COVID has
We're
thrown a monkey wrench into a lot of our lives, but also a lot of the sporting events that goes on. So hopefully we get back to a little bit more normalcy this year with the NFL especially. But yeah,
yeah.
obviously looking forward to Once a Year Day.
Well, shit, man. Maybe fans in the stadium. I mean, come on, man. Now we're getting back. So let's start right here.
Okay.
So E-League draft is August 28th.
Yep.
Where are we having it at?
Isaac's house, where we'll be out on the deck. He's got a nice view of the valley out there. It's going to be. He's got put in a new deck last summer, really nice. I think it's going to be a
Beautiful.
great hosting location as long as the weather cooperates. If not, we
Yeah.
move it
Now,
inside.
all right. So is he going to put any like foam or any kind of like bumpers down on his stairs heading out? We want to make sure we don't have any more broken
Well,
bones.
thank
here
God
on
he
one
got the
year.
balcony put in because there might be a couple deaths had he not put
Oh,
that in. So, but I think Isaac still might be in a cast up to his elbow during our draft, but he'll just be one-armed Willie.
nice. So do we have a start time?
I'm guessing anytime between 4 and 6, probably leaning more towards 6, but there's a potential that it might go a little bit earlier at 4.
All right. So we're going to tell Joe it starts at 4. Draft starts at 6.
That would probably be the wise decision.
So, Dennis, Joe, if you're watching this, you got to be there at 4 o'clock. Set your calendar times. And so we've got some business we're going to try to discuss during, while we're there as a group. So one of the things that we were just talking about earlier is A-League playoff dates. So we don't have to get into that now, but let's talk about now that we got a 17-game season. We want to talk about dates.
There was some scuttlebutt prior to once we knew that there was going to be an extra game added. Maybe we just keep everything the same as it is before. And so I think that's going to be a discussion that we have with the whole group. Do we add another regular season game? Do we still end it, though, the week before the season actually ends? Because we know that last week it's not going to mean a whole lot. There is some implications with what happens if a team has it sewed up 2-3 weeks ahead of time and they're not playing their players the second to the last game instead of just the last game. Now that there's potential for that happening, especially if you have a juggernaut of a team that has really hitched your ride to certain players, and all of a sudden they're not playing the last 2 weeks. You know.
Well, for sure, and there's a lot of risks that are going to happen. Both that, but what if a team has to forfeit due to some COVID issues? I mean, and I think, my opinion. Now, granted, we'll dive into this as a team, but I mean, that's just part of the breaks. I mean, it just, I think.
What
is,
about
so.
if I think we have a pretty even schedule as it is right now. We play each team in our division twice, and then we play everybody else once. If we change that, there's going to be some unfair competitive balance where one team might be playing the best team twice, or possibly, you know what I mean, outside of their division. So
yeah, you got that outside
so
the division.
there's some things that we're going to have to kind of work around as a group and make a decision on it.
There's no doubt about it. We want to talk about. I think we already it was brought up in the group thread, but the loser to buy the draft board. I think that's just something we memorialize there.
Hands down, I think everybody, when we had our guys' night last night at the PI, everybody was in favor of it. I think moving forward, we do that. It's fair. Little incentive to not finish last place. You would be that person this year, but fortunately enough for you, Jason has done us a favor and purchased it. So it'll.
And it's been random though. I mean, because we haven't been following that, but let's memorialize that so we know the loser of the 2021, 2022 fan or 2021 A League buys a draft board. I want to talk about either a trophy or winning a trophy, something along that lines. I was thinking it'd be kind of cool to put a board up, maybe it's like a whiteboard or something. So with Dennis's track record and his predictions on the three best teams, and we can just take a picture right next to our draft board. So we got that fucker memorialized.
I do agree that his prediction should be tabulated throughout the draft, as well as maybe through the season. Difficult to do. He says he's 85% right, but I think if we actually calculated it by the end of the season, 13%.
Yeah, I'd like to do that. I also, one of the things, now this probably pertains to me more than anybody, and certainly when Steve and I get a couple beers in our belly, a running bet board. So what are the bets made during draft day? I think that'd be kind of fun. Everybody can see them, so it's not just between the people.
I think that's a great idea.
Water bets and all sorts of shit.
Great idea.
And then the other one, I'm still lobbying every year. I'll keep lobbying to have some girls' service drinks. I mean, I just want to make sure that we can get that in at one point. Hopefully my wife's not listening right now, but I still think that would be fucking hilarious. They put up the actual stickers on the board. Somebody's popping drinks. Come on now.
I think that at one point this needs to get done. Whether or not it gets done this year or not, probably not.
But we'll talk about it this year, see if we can implement it next year.
Well, and I think we have to make sure that the right pieces are put in place. There's got to be great talent that is put in place to make sure that it meets everybody's taste.
You just leave that up to me. I'm the talent expert. I may not be PR1, but I'm talent number one. All right now.
Well, okay. I think speaking of PR1, I did a little bit of some calculations yesterday. If you just happen to miss it in our football thread. And over the past 11 years of data that we have to go back from, and not everybody has 11 years worth of data. Farline, you only have 4, with Spencer, Andy, and Isaac having 10. But there were some interesting things that came out from this. I'll just go in order of average wins per season, which isn't always indicative of who will win the title, but it does give a little bit of an indicator as to consistency within the league, year in and year out. And at the top, we have Steve at 8.5 wins per year, which is a full standard deviation above second and third place. And so I find that to be very impressive. Equally impressive is where PR12, Pringle, falls 5.8, a full 3 standard deviations below where the number one takes place. It just thought it was a little bit interesting. I think it just gives us an idea of who's consistent year in and year out. A surprise at number 2 was Joe, was 7.3. And then Andy, who's won a couple titles, was 11th at 6.5. And so it doesn't always indicate who's strong as far as winning championships, but it's a good indicator as the consistency of your teams every year.
It is. And I think that how many wins does it take to get in the playoffs?
I mean, you got to have at least 9.
9.
I don't think I saw any first, second, or third place teams with 8 wins that finished in the top 3 spots. If my memory serves me correct, I could be wrong there, but I did see some champions with 9 wins. And so, but to get into the playoffs, very rarely are you getting in with below 9 wins. You have to have at least 9, and if not more, to really secure your place in the playoffs.
So that's what I found was kind of interesting, right? I mean, even though there was a big difference between, which is true. I mean, in any type of bell curve, you got your outliers, which is Pringle and even those are closer difference between Joe and Steve. But all of us were pretty. I mean, we're talking about a win, 2 wins on average here or there, and you've got the majority of the teams, which shows
it's 0.8 separated between the second spot and the 11th spot. 0.8. So it's less than a win per year that's separating people out. but it's just, I think it's a little interesting, just a little stat. We see analytics across the board. Why not take a look at fantasy as well?
It's good. And I really only care about the last 4 years. Because anything before the last 4 years really doesn't fucking matter because you didn't
Well,
have
you're
me in the
still
league.
at 6.75, so not good.
Yeah, well, that's going to change this year. So, but let's talk about 2021. So, 2021, or sorry, let's talk about 2020 season. That was weird year. A lot of uncertainty going in. However, we had a clear winner in that league. In our
It
league.
was a
That
destruction. It was a massacre in that championship game, and it's not.
Who won the league?
Jason won the league in a dominating fashion over Cree. Cree put up a good score, but it wasn't. I've never seen anything like what Jason was able to score. It was 273. It was an astronomical amount. I don't think we've ever had that high of a score in any of the regular season games as well. You could call it luck, but he probably had the best team. So.
Well, not to start the year. Now, if we remember, Cree was on fire to start the year. He was blowing teams out, and so.
And then I think, I think what hit his team was losing Ridley, if memory serves me correct. And so, but he still made it to the championship game. He chipped in a chair. He had a chance.
In a chair, that's right. So Weeds was our winner, pulling up last place.
Like usual.
Not like usual. Third place and eighth place finish. But as we said, I ended up getting last place. It came right down to the last game, and Dennis beat me. So it was Dennis and I in 12-11. No excuses. But I'd be willing to, I'd be willing to bet my facial hair.
Well, do you already have a bet in place? Do you already have a bet in place with one of our league mates?
We do.
What's the bet?
Yeah. $50 that I will finish with a better record than Dennis. That's easy money. I've actually already spent that $50. So that's how confident I am.
Yeah, I'm probably some Olympic bet on Olympic equestrian racing or something like that.
I've got a lot riding on. I got a lot riding on handball right now. I've got Denmark to win the men's handball championship. So
of course you do. Yeah, I wish them nothing but the best. Go USA.
Yeah, that's right. All right, man. We've talked about 2020. We've taken a little look back. So what is this? We're not from an A-League perspective, but I want to hear is what are you seeing 2021 just early football-wise, fantasy trends? We're not giving away the bank here, but, what are you seeing? I mean, remember, Dale, we're 1 month away from the A-League draft. So this is when a lot of members of this league, stop being jizz jugglers and really start concentrating and doing some research. What are you seeing right now?
Well, I think early news of Cam Akers tearing his Achilles, really, that's the biggest news so far. The implications there, he was going to be a very high draft pick, probably higher than a lot of people could have predicted. And so there's going to be some domino effects from that.
Let me stop you there. So Jonas is already on tilt. So I traded him he traded me Miles Sanders. I gave him Cam Akers with a couple other pieces. I'm just not a big Rams fan, especially this year, because I think they're going to be really good. And so was able to do a little Nostradamus, looked in the future, put him on tilt already in the middle of July. A bold prediction right now: Jonas finishes 12th overall this year. What else you got?
Well, I think we had a couple of quarterback movements with like a Ryan Fitzpatrick going to Washington. What does he do there? Stafford going to the Rams. Goff going to Detroit. We have rookies who are coming in. How are they going to play out? And so I think trying to make a couple of adjustments off of that. Darnold in Carolina, trying to forecast those team situations is going to be difficult, I think. And so there's going to be some risk reward in drafting some of the players from those teams. And then you have a team like Houston who lost Deshaun Watson for who knows what his legal situation is going to play out. But I tell you what, I don't think there's going to be a lot of players drafted from that team. There'll be some value there, but it'll be inconsistent. Nor I don't think anybody in our league is going to sit there and go, let me watch the Houston Texans this week.
Right. I think there are a few trends that I think we're going to continue to see. I think there's going to be in the first round, there's going to be running backs heavy, early, often. Yep. I think that you're going to see a few teams that people just don't like drafting for. As you said, it's going to be really interesting what happens in the with the rookie quarterback for the Jets. Is there going to be some fantasy value there?
Well, he's not even signed yet. He's holding out.
I know. We've had some big wide receiver movement, and then you've got this crop of potentially league-winning rookie quarterbacks. I mean, anyway, it's going to be really fascinating how people put together their draft strategy. Are you going for one of the big 5 quarterbacks? Are you going to step back? Are you going to try to get some value with potentially some rookie quarterbacks? It's going to be fascinating. And then, of course, just really quick, I just want to get your take. I mean, the tight end landscape, there's not 12, starting tight ends. I mean,
there's not. I mean, last year there was basically, there was 2 with Waller and Kelsey. You add Hawkinson, you add in Mark Andrews, you add in a healthy Kittle, and you have a little bit of depth at that position. But there's going to be, you're either going to have to reach early for those top tier tight ends, or spend a lot of draft capital with a 4th or 5th round pick to get that second tier tight end. And then I think it's a ghost town after that. It's a throw a dart at a dartboard, hope to get lucky with a touchdown each week. Somebody will emerge from that back end of the pack, but that strategy going to the draft is going to be crucial. Do you spend capital early, getting position scarcity at the tight end position, or do you wait?
Right. No, that's great. All right, so some way too early bowl predictions in A-League. I don't need to give you win totals, but I want to know, as you're thinking 1 month out, I mean, what's your thoughts on how these guys are preparing, or how you think A-League's going to shake out?
Look, are we talking about our league mates, or are we talking about real life football here?
We're talking about our league mates.
Well, our league mates. I mean, you got 3 or 4 people who are probably put in a little bit of work. Obviously, we do a fantasy football show, so we're putting in a little bit of work. I think Steve's always put in work. He's listening to the podcast while he's at work. Jonas will put in his work. I don't know if it ever pays off, but he'll put in his work. Last night at our round table, we had PR12 Nicholas Pringle saying he's going to change his draft strategy. He's going to do some more research, and so I expect him to come in with a little bit more preparation, a little bit of homework under his belt, because he desperately needs to improve his position.
So the advice to Pringle is just don't suck. But I mean, over 11 years of data, which we didn't even care the past 4 years of data, we're still looking at PR12. I'm looking forward to seeing who goes on tilt, because I've been as guilty of that.
Well, you'll be on tilt after right before your first pick. That's a guarantee.
I'm also curious. We've got a lot of people saying, "Well, I'm only going to have a beer, 2 beers." So I'm going to take the opposite. I'm going to take the opposite strategy. I hop on a plane at 6 a.m. in the morning from Anchorage.
You arrive in Spokane at 12:30. I expect a typical Nicholas Farline, a traveling Nicholas Farline.
Oh yeah. I'm gonna have a belly full of booze, and I'm gonna be ready to go. I'm gonna come in kind of loose,
I think that's a draft strategy that some of the people are implementing this year. I'm not going to drink. I'm not going to have any drinks until after the draft.
Overthink it and make mistakes.
Well, have fun.
Now, the next thing we just need to touch on real quick. So, right now, who do you think is winning A-League this year?
I think without knowing divisions, that's a very hard thing. I mean, if you had to put money on it, oh, I'm gonna go out on a limb here. I'm gonna say me. No, I'm gonna say me.
It's either Dale or
I think right now. I think that I think without knowing divisions, without looking at the teams, that's an impossible thing to say because there is so much luck that goes into winning in any year. But it matters who you draft. It matters who's in your division, and so I'll wait until then to give a true prediction.
Well, to the bold goes the spoils. I'll tell you who's not winning it. There's 4 or 5 guys who absolutely have no shot.
Yeah.
There's 3 guys who have a little shot. And then there's a couple guys that have a good shot. I'm telling you right now, I'll put the target on my back. I'm winning this thing. Hands down. It's done. Gentlemen, we look forward to seeing you in a month. Welcome back to the Remi Red Show. We'll be kicking these guys off once right after our A-League draft. And then we'll be doing one once a week as we go through the season. Again, we'll have special guests. We're going to be having, our routines. Today I'm drinking agua. There's a Heffy over there in Quincy. Otherwise, gentlemen,
have a good night.
We love you. We'll see you soon.